How do you really define GOAT? No, not that GOAT. These GOATs. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 GOATs. But seriously, how much time do you think people have wasted arguing about who the GOAT is in every sport? And it's not that I don't believe that there's a GOAT in every sport, because there is. It's just that I don't subscribe to the idea that there's an undisputed GOAT in every sport. And I just mean that there should be room for debate at the top. How do we really compare Michael Jordan to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Tom Brady to Jerry Rice? It really doesn't make sense, and it's not exactly possible. So much of what goes into their position is completely unrelated to the other position. So what I'm here to say is that the GOAT of basketball, really any sport, should be decided on each position, not just one general person. Think about it. Let's go back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus Michael Jordan. These are their career stats, and honestly, when you look at them, they're seemingly near equal, with some variance depending on what you value. Like Kareem's ability to play 20 seasons, 15 of them on the All-NBA team, might be more valuable than those finals MVPs that MJ has. And honestly, think about comparing MJ to even Shaq. You can honestly say Michael Jordan has way more skills than Shaquille O'Neal. But isn't the objective of basketball to put that ball in the hoop? And I don't know if there's any person in the history of man who's been more unstoppable at doing so than Shaquille O'Neal. I know a lot of people say they want to get Kevin Durant or Michael or Kobe if they had to play one-on-one for, the rest of the world's existence against an alien, but I'm thinking I might go Shaquille O'Neal. And of course, we haven't even talked about Bill Russell and his 11 championships, if you value championships to that degree. When it comes to comparing players like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Steph Curry, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Isaiah Thomas, Jerry West, Dwayne Wade, Bill Russell, Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, you get it. How do you really compare these guys? Again, how does MJ compare to Bill Russell? Of course, is it really fair to compare someone who's played against the same 12 teams every single year and he was like the only person above 6 foot to people like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or current people who are playing against some of the best competition there ever was? And I do recognize some of these players are a tier above the rest. I get it. But it's still fair to talk about Isaiah Thomas versus Steph Curry versus D Wade or Hakeem versus Shaq, people you want to start your franchise around. But in this video, we are focusing on that tier above the rest, the very top tier of that pyramid. Because having a GOAT based on position would help clear out the most important debate of them all, the MJ, Kobe, Magic, LeBron debate. We spend far too much time discussing Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. It's honestly maddening when you look at these two and it's like no one else even exists. But if we're having honest debate, it's gotta be LeBron versus Magic, Kobe versus MJ. Their play styles are just so much more similar. Both Magic and LeBron, their systems. You can include Scottie, you can include Tim Duncan, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, or even Russell Westbrook if you want to include some of the lower tiers. But the idea here is that they can do a little bit of everything at an elite level so they can help bolster up near every aspect of a game. Think of an NBA 2K player with their sliders across the board being pretty much all the way up. Now when it comes to MJ and Kobe, they are the prototype basketball players. Their combination of speed and size allows for them to tap in on so many different styles of basketball. A shooting guard can learn to post up like Hakeem, but a massive center is not going to learn to dribble the ball like Kyrie Irving. And that's just a physical aspect of the game. When your hands are massive, you can't dribble that little ball. It's just too difficult. That's why when you have players like Kevin Durant doing what he's done, it's so remarkable. Then that's when you see Victor Wembanyama, and when he's doing, he might be a combination of Kobe and LeBron and Michael and MJ with Kyrie Irving, and that's just absolutely terrifying. But I digress. Let's get back to the point. These types of players, they're assassins. They're not going to be everywhere on the court. They're going to pick their battles, but when they do, it's going to be so important and it's going to be beautiful. Whether it's stopping their best player or coming through in the clutch or moments they really need a basket, they're going to utilize their fine-tuned skills to get you out of those situations. Again, think of an NBA 2K player, but this one has a lot more sliders up into the high 90s, but he's got a couple areas that aren't quite as high as the other, or some of their physical attributes aren't as high. But it's those extremely high sliders that make up for the lower ones that make them so deadly. If you have any memory of Kobe or MJ playing, there was always this thought process of when are they going to take over the game? What part of each half are they just going to impose their will? But if you watch LeBron and remember watching Magic, it's not like that at all. It's more about how they have their hand on a little bit of everything all around the game. And a lot of you are going to say, well, isn't that the better option, to be involved in everything, better at everything? Well, it's not necessarily better at everything. It's where you exert your energy. The issue with doing everything for everyone is you're the system, and once you go off that court, everything falls apart. It's all too common in human nature to develop bad habits when you know there's someone behind you to clean up. Don't forget, drink your water. That's why when you have players like Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard around Tim Duncan, or Draymond Green and Klay Thompson around Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, you have this core group of players who are capable of continuing that high level of play, holding up the system while that other player is out. Draymond Green and Klay Thompson can absolutely create offense while Steph Curry rests. Anderson Varejao and Mo Williams cannot. All these styles, they have their pros, they have their cons. It's like people who say LeBron should just drive to the hoop every single time. It's just not possible. And you can argue that players like LeBron or Magic can only work if the system is based around them, whereas players like Kobe, MJ, Kevin Durant, those players can execute their style in any system. Then again, that's why so much of players' careers have to do with circumstance. Who your coach was, who your teammates were, who the GM was, who your opponents were in the finals. All of these things culminate to create their legacy. Mike Trout is arguably the greatest baseball player of all time, and I think he's made the playoffs one time. Think about that. Being one of the greatest players of all time who will never be remembered because he never made the playoffs and can never do anything when everyone is paying attention. Discussing players based on position also allows for us to talk about more players, bring more of the spotlight, appreciate more of the sport, who's been there and done these things for us, instead of just talking about the same old LeBron versus MJ. As always, hit that sub button and turn on notifications. Remember, go out there and do something great.